Hello there, Dan the Weatherman here. Hey, welcome to my weather show. This is the global edition where we take a look at things going on around the globe. It's been a busy week and the week to come is going to be just as busy. We're getting now, of course, to the business end of the hurricane season for the Atlantic Basin and the Eastern Pacific. And there's a lot to talk about. Let's get right into it. Of course, these two swirls here. One, of course, is the intense hurricane Ida. That one's sitting there. And the other one, Nora. Both are going to have some significant impacts to parts of the US and even Mexico. Talk about temperatures. I'll tell you more in just a second about the actual hurricanes and what they are going to do. Extremes of temperature have been such a thing over the Northern Hemisphere summer, where you see the orange and red temperatures well above normal. We will see more of that this week. But as we go through the seasonal change, getting into spring in the Southern Hemisphere, that's when we start opening up the big, deep, dark, deep freeze of the Antarctic. You get the changing days, of course, you get some sun. That's when we start seeing these plumes of cold come through. One particular one there to South Africa, that cold surge, more heat again to parts of the northern parts of Canada, also to Greenland. But things changing too in the same respect. We're getting a surge of cold that'll set up. Watch this through the course of the week. Surge of blue, colder air tracking down. That's the first signs. Parts of northern Europe and particularly northwest Russia, where they could be seeing temperatures, even some frost on the chilly side. And these surges of cool here, that particular one, will actually help to bring a fine and settled start to meteorological spring to parts of New Zealand. See that little bend? This, of course, is the jet stream. A lot of energy here. You got warm, you got cold, and that just brings about stuff, energy. That kink there kicks off some of the mid-level warmth, and as this goes through, that will actually track a big area of high pressure right across the Indian Ocean. And if you can believe it, in a few days' time, that settles and brings some fine-looking weather to New Zealand and parts of Australia. Quite warm. Other side of the coin, you've got, of course, the tropical troublemakers moving into parts of the US. And at the same time, remember this big surge here. That's colder air tracking into northern parts of Europe and the northern and western parts of Russia. In between, there could be more tropical troublemakers, and a few of them could even track up across eastern parts of the Atlantic. We will see how things go. Let's get right into it. Now, the last several days we've seen some devastating flooding. This, of course, has been in Tennessee, where there were literally walls of water. 17 inches of rain, over 400 millimeters of rain in one day. Several months worth of rain. How does that happen in somewhere like Tennessee? Just from intense thunderstorms. It's all down to all the extra moisture in the atmosphere and getting those right winds going on. We had some lovely low-level juicy winds coming in, meeting the upper-level winds. We had the remnant hurricane dying and fading across the north and east, but this was the upper-level flow. Upper-level winds there, low-level winds like that, boom, up go the thunderstorms, and they kept building and just squeezing out that very juicy air, dumping all of that rain, and we could see more significant rain in a different part of the states, of course, with the hurricanes over the course of the next several days. So this is Ida. This is, of course, it tracking across the Gulf of Mexico. Just a bit of a wobble there, but you can see it is moving north, bearing down on parts of Louisiana with its landfall probably somewhere between New Orleans and Lafayette as we run away through the next several hours. This thing looks good. You can see the swirl of cloud there. That indicates it's got good outflow to the north, like a chimney. This thing sucks the warm, juicy water of the Gulf of Mexico. Some 30 degrees. It's like bath water, but intensification and growing very quickly. You can see that eye getting that red around it, really sort of saying, I'm doing my stuff. And watch, not just the warmer seas, but it's the higher heat content, and it's moving across a blob of some pretty deep, very, very warm, juicy sea. Think of it like some jet fuel. That moves across it, sucks it up, boom, and it's like off it goes. And that could be the rapid intensification to make it pretty much a top-end storm as it moves its way in. The other one I mentioned, of course, that is Nora here, running across the Riviera of Mexico. Watch out for that one for the desert southwest. So we're going to run away through the course of the next few days and watch where this goes. Good news, at least, this thing will track into the westerlies eventually, but it will linger a little bit across parts of northern Louisiana and Arkansas. That could dump significant rain. And don't forget, of course, the storm surge, 10 to 15 feet, some 5 to 6 meters. That could be quite significant. That tracks away. That's the moisture, of course, from what is Nora. That could be quite a bit in the way of moisture. Mentioning the steering winds, there's a big upper ridge here that steers it across Louisiana. These are the westerlies that push it that way, but notice there isn't too much here. It's kind of lighter winds, so in those first sort of couple of 100 miles as it moves in and loses its warm water source, that could be a bit of a problem in the sense of dumping a lot of rain. 1 to maybe as much as 400 millimeters of rain in that storm track. And I've mentioned the desert southwest. You take the same sort of thing, look at these. These are the paths of accumulated rainfall. There it is. Where you see purple, that is in excess of 1 to 200 millimeters of rain all the way up to New York. This is going over several days. The other one is, of course, much of the desert southwest. Nora runs up the Gulf of California, and we get what's sometimes called a Gulf surge. That will track in significant moisture to really bring some jet fuel to the desert southwest monsoon. 50 to 100 millimeters, and you're talking places like Phoenix, Tucson. That could be flash flooding there as well. But so significant rainfall risk to parts of the US. I mentioned the cold to parts of Europe, but you go north and west, it's late summer across the British Isles. Big area of high pressure. This is a big messy looking low, spiraling away, but it loses upper level energy. You can see how it starts to fade from parts of Germany and moving east to Poland. The cold air, where is it? Well, put your eyes to that blue line there. That is the cold surge tracking down. By the end of the weeks, the 20s and 30s over northern parts of Europe, boom, they're gone. Could be struggling to get to 10 degrees for places like Helsinki and even Moscow and St. Petersburg as that cold nor'wester sets in. The hints of the autumnal change to parts of Europe. We head down under, we head to Australia and New Zealand, and it's all about high pressure, getting to the beginnings of meteorological spring. This is the high. Look at this thing build, and it's a surge of warmth, and it tracks all the way back to the Indian Ocean and South Africa. And you say, how does that happen? Look at that high. Lovely weather, some 20s to eastern parts of New Zealand. Could even see a couple of 30s well into parts of, say, Australia. Adelaide could be flirting with 30 degrees with a warm nor'wester before that change comes in. And it's all down to that warmth in the middle layers of the atmosphere, which we see more and more of, course, as the planet warms. This yellow, this green, look at that surge, and you see this big circle there. That's the upper level high, the ridge setting in, and boom, there you go. That just sets up shop, giving you fine looking warm weather to finish off the course of the week and get into the first week of meteorological spring down south. So that's how the weather is looking for now. Take care.